businessman denies helping JAMMEH'S cousin escape prosecution in 2014. FIFA bans CAF President Ahmad for 5 years over corruption. 70 anti-riot police officers complete training on crowd management. These and more coming on Gambia24. Welcome back. This is Gambia24 with me, Mariama Cham. Thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Banta Jaite, a businessman, on Tuesday denied helping Pa Bojang, the cousin of former President Yahya Jammeh, escape to the United States after having a problem with the former dictator. Pa Bojang was accused of stealing money from Jammeh's personal businesses and jumped bail while on the trial. More in this report.
Jaite is one of more than a dozen people appearing before the Truth Commission to give account of maltreatment meted out on them by the Fiat National Intelligence Agency. Banta Jaite had rented a property of Yahya Jammeh's farm, the Kanilai Group International, to run his business. His job was to repair cars, mostly government vehicles, but after 4 months of operations, he said Pa Bojang told him that Yahya Jammeh wanted him out of the rented property, but he refused.
One day, Pa Bojang called me in the evening. He said, yeah, the big man was passing by and he saw that a lot of cars are in the garage. He asked me who's there. He said he told him that I'm the one who is there. We rented the place. He said we should move out there immediately.
Kulun killing big man unying betam bekanje lale. Ay moto jamalu jelo ringara sokono. Akaya kumandika nyininka jumale tamu jumanyo lebijang akaka ay ntele tofa ya kontele bijang. Bidu tumo moto lu ntele kedada. Akaka nko ala fe fintijan sai.
When you say the big man, who are you referring to?
Yeah, Jammeh, I'm referring to.
Yeah, Jammeh.
So they just asked you to pack out of the place?
Yes. Yes. And then I told Pa Bojang that night, I said, he can do whatever he like to do, but there is no way I can able to move those heavy equipment under the cars and everything because I have no place for it. Maybe you can tell me, okay, 1 week or 3 weeks, 1 month to find out a place, but this way I cannot.
Jaite, like previous witnesses who survived the brutality of NIA operatives and Jammeh's death squad, the junglers, said he was tortured. He was also detained at the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency for about 2 months, despite telling them that he has no idea about Pa Bojang's escape to the United States.
The first question they asked me, you are the one who helped Pa Bojang to leave the country. When I said no, that is, they don't want to hear that. Then that's when they start beating me.
Kunyininkar follow me yininkala, wale mnyintiko. Iko itele Pa Bojang de ma hanfa banko bula aborta. Birinko ye hani, utumole mbitun ya damu takalipa.
And then the one came to me and put his hand in my pocket.
They
just saw me with our cash power number, my parents, their cash power number in Buya. And they thought that this is a telephone number, international number, that I'm communicating with Pa Bojang, maybe somebody like that.
But banku tema telephone number le mwoti aseke number tenten Pa Bojang kadiamu number men.
When I tell them this is a cash power number, they say I'm lying and they start beating again.
For 6 years, Bantang Jaite kept evidence of torture meted on him. He said he didn't know why he had the evidence with him all these years. On Tuesday, he brought that evidence and showed it to the Truth Commission during his testimony. It included the clothes he was wearing when he was being tortured, a photo of him after he was tortured, and a photo of one of the torturers. Ex-President Yahya Jammeh's 22 years dictatorship left scars of torture, enforced disappearances, and killings of real and perceived opponents. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
A witness there denying helping the cousin of former President Jammeh to escape. Now, the Minister of Tourism on Sunday visited Karantaba, the Sami district of the Central River region, where a monument known as the Bongo Park Memorial is located. Park was a Scottish explorer who died in 1806 while after he set out from the source of the Gambia on a discovery voyage of the origins of the River Niger. In his honor, the Bongo Park Memorial Monument, which is one of the historical places of attractions in the Gambia, was built in 1944. The minister also visited other tourist attractions, as we hear in this report.
Gambia's Minister of Tourism, Mohamed Ba, continued his tour of tourism sites in rural Gambia with visits to the Bongo Park Memorial, the tomb of a 19th century Muslim warrior Musa Molong. Ba also visited Sotomasare village, where a safari camp is being built. He told the press that the government is ready to transform the Gambia's tourism attraction.
That's why we are building all these facilities throughout the country. And this is just the beginning. We'll continue to partner with private investors to make sure we promote this policy of building infrastructure throughout the country. And we will tap in all the regional markets to make sure they come here. Combine it with our culture. It's a tourism-centered cultural thing that we're going to do. And that's why we are also, the NCAC is coming up with all these projects. The wrestling arenas, the new thing that we are doing is all geared towards making, when you come here, you stay in Sotoma, you can go for a wrestling contest with your children. There will be a wrestling arena. We're building 7 around the country. So that people, when they go out on a weekend, they can also have a different part of life with their families without going to other countries.
While the government is building ecologies and hotels with planned facelifts for tourism attraction sites in rural Gambia, it has also embarked on ambitious road project to facilitate access. Hamad Bar said more projects will be implemented.
Road networking has been a huge problem in the Gambia. For the last 55 years or so, we've not invested very much into road infrastructure. It's only when this government came in place that we felt, we made an assessment. We need 4,000 kilometers of road to do the entire Gambia. Since independence, we only constructed 800, about slightly less than 800 kilometers in the whole Gambia. Now, when we came in 3 years now, 3.5 years going to 4 years, we are almost hitting 400 to 600 kilometers, what they did in 55 years or so. That shows how ambitious we are and how much awareness that we have. That's only through road network that you can save lives, that you can move the economy, that trade can move on, microeconomic activities can move on.
The minister is accompanied by officials of the Gambia Tourism Board and the National Council for Arts and Culture on this latest nationwide tour of important historic, touristic, and cultural landmarks. They are also visiting ongoing construction sites of ecology-friendly camps along the River Gambia. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Tourism Minister there still exploring tourist sites in rural Gambia. Now, the term of the current leadership of the Gambian National Olympic Committee, GNOC, expires this year, and its affiliates are still calling for elections. But the local Olympic body is insisting that it has the blessings of its parent organization, the International Olympic Committee, the OIC, to push the elections until after the Summer Olympic Games in Japan next year. This is a report.
Sports Association affiliated to the Gambian National Olympic Committee, GNOC, have accused the body of using dubious means to prolong its stay in power against its own set of rules outlined in its constitution. The GNOC member affiliates want to go to Congress this year, but the current leadership want to use the postponement of the Olympic Games to stay one more year beyond their mandate. Following the affiliate's concerns issued last Friday, the GNOC called a press conference to reaffirm that it has been given the go-ahead by the IOC to remain in power until 2021 after the Tokyo Games. On Tuesday, the Secretary General of the Gambia Olympic Committee, Abdoulaye Jallow, told journalists that the committee is acting on the green light given by the IOC to postpone the election.
IOC has consented to this decision in a communication received on 3rd November 2020 as follows. As discussed on the phone, we wish to confirm that we took note of the decision taken by your National Olympic Committee Executive Board and ratified by a resolution of your association's federations to postpone your NOC elections until after the Tokyo Games next year, which is in line with option 2 of our circular letter to all NOCs dated 23rd of April 2020 and our previous discussions with you on this subject. We understand that your NOC elections will take place after the Tokyo Games next year and no later than November or December 2021. This is the statement that we received from the IOC.
During their press conference last Friday, GNOC member associations had called for transparency on COVID-19 funds the committee received from the IOC and to explain how it was to be utilized. On Tuesday, the GNOC executive referred to the money from the IOC as a special support grant, revealing that the Gambia has been allocated $47,000, of which $24,000 have been received and is being spent. The committee's secretary, Jallow, said the fund was the bonds under strict guidelines and is being used in the preparations for the upcoming Summer Games.
The issue of so-called COVID funds. The Olympic Solidarity usually supports national Olympic committees with an annual activity grant under strict guidelines. NOCs can use 75% of the funds for national associations and 25% for administrative purposes. However, this year, NOCs did not receive these funds as a result of the decisions to support NOCs with special support grant, not COVID funds, through continental associations. The amount of $11,650,000 was allocated to continental associations, with each NOC to receive $47,000 in 2 installments.
The GNOC has tried to legitimize its desire to hold elections next year by sending a circular to member affiliates to sign against it as a form of consent, but member associations said this was a dubious move. The Gambia National Olympic Committee was founded in 1972. The body has in the last 10 years been involved in bitter and prolonged power struggles and allegations of corruption. For iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Affiliates of the Gambia National Olympic calling for an election there. Now the head of Africa's football governing body has been found guilty of corruption and is subsequently banned for 5 years from all football-related activities. Ahmad replaced the former CAF president Issa Hayatou, and his sanction by the Chamber of the Independent Committee of FIFA is seen by some experts as historic. The CAF president had filed his candidacy for the upcoming CAF election, but this latest development has dampened his chances. Details in this report.
Ahmad is guilty. A statement many concerned with African football knew but never dared to speak. On Monday morning, FIFA said it's official. The first man to replace Issa Hayatou in CAF is corrupt.
It's a historic step. We haven't seen the president of CAF or even a senior member convicted that way before. Infantino is apparently applying his motto of no corruption in football. Ahmad is out of the CAF elections for sure. He's no longer the head of CAF. He still has the right to appeal. But until the process is over, he will remain out.
For 5 years, the Malagasy will be banned from any football activity. That will force him to resign from heading his country's football association. FIFA's Independent Ethics Committee will fine him more than $240,000. But what about the millions of dollars he has been convicted in wasting? And are there other culprits in CAF?
FIFA's penalties are regulated by the Code of Ethics. They cannot increase the amount of the financial penalty. Definitely, this financial penalty is incomparable. If there were other people involved, I believe they would have been included in the FIFA announcement. But now it's up to Ahmed to reveal further names involved with him in the corruption.
The adjudicatory chamber investigating Ahmed has convicted him of breaching his duty of loyalty, offering and accepting gifts or benefits, abusing his position, and misappropriation of funds. He has been also found guilty of managing CAF's tactical steel contract. It replaced Puma's deal for 15,000 sports items worth about $250,000. Tactical, a company owned by Ahmed's friend, got 4 times that amount in return of just 50% more items. It's a historic step for African football and the promise of a better future in CAF, which will be electing a new president within the next few months. Africa is remembering CAF former Secretary General, the late Amr Fahmy, who has blown the whistle and lost his job standing against Ahmed while everyone else remained silent.
CAF President Ahmed is banned from all football-related activities for 5 years after he was found guilty of corruption. We will now take a short break and come back with the rest of the news. Welcome back, and now to the rest of the news. 70 officers of the Police Intervention Unit and Anti-RIOT Group have completed a training on public order management on Tuesday. They received training from the French National Gendarmerie Police Force. Let's take a listen. Participants were trained on how to handle demonstrations, including burning barricades and hostile crowds. The week-long training was conducted by crowd control experts from the French National Gendarmerie. On Tuesday, Joël Godou, the French charge d'affaires in the Gambia, said the police have a duty to protect human rights and not damage them.
Training is essential for PIU officials, noting that the laws of the Gambia have forbidden the security from excessive use of force. Freedom of assembly is necessary for the building of democracy and good governance in respect with ethics and the rule of law. Each and every Gambian citizen has the right to protest for or against any issue of concern. This is a right guaranteed by the Constitution. The police are one of the leading national human rights protection agencies, and therefore it must never be seen as damaging rights in any way.
Ibrahim Abbar, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, said that the training course is a continuation of bilateral ties between the governments of the Gambia and France. He said the training forms part of the security sector reforms that the government is undertaking.
The security sector reform in the Gambia is undergoing transformative reforms to position the security services for better service delivery to the people of this beloved country. Under the security sector reform program, it is envisaged that the security services will be brought under democratic civilian control to prevent a repeat of the mishaps of the recent past. As law enforcement officers, you are expected to uphold the highest standards possible in terms of respect for human rights and professional conduct.
In June, 44 police officers took the same training, while the latest batch ends their week-long training with a ceremony. The French instructors used the opportunity to give 16 radio headsets and other professional tools to the police mechanic workshop unit. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. 70 PIU officers there completed a week training on public order management by the French gendarmerie. Now, Mamadou Gueye, a former deputy police chief, has told the Gambia's Truth Commission that the government made up witnesses to implicate him in an alleged 2009 coup plot. Gueye said he first met the witness who testified against him at the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency when he was asked to report. But the witness Ibrahim Mane admitted not knowing him. More in this report. The former police chief knew the coup allegations brought against him were bogus when the Inspector General of Police at the time, Essa Baji, who was reportedly implicated by the witness Ibrahim Mare, became a member of the panel of investigators. Mamadou Gueye said he was surprised to see Essa Baji in the panel that made Mare implicate him.
I said that the boy was confronted with me in the afternoon, so obviously in the night, if they ask him, he will point at me. But I told the panel that I don't know the boy, it is Essa Baji who knows the boy and not me.
What was the panel's reaction to this?
I know that maybe because of the presence of because I was putting pressure on Essa Baji to respond, but for that being the case, they have to cut off the panel. So I was forcing him to say the truth.
Who was this boy? Sorry.
Ibrahim Amare.
Under the dictatorship, torture was a major weapon against real and perceived opponents of Yahya Jammeh. Operatives of the National Intelligence Agency and multitask forces set by the dictator or his death squad, the Junglers, beat confessions out of their victims for several years. Gueye too suffered the same fate in the hands of these dreaded agents.
I was handcuffed from behind.
And
they put this black plastic bag on my head. They put one. But I was able to bite it. And after they put additional plastic bag on my head, and I was just reciting the name of the Almighty Allah. And it was then that I was lifted and taken out of the room. As I was dragged out, my shoes were left inside. So when we were out, I felt the grass. And there I was pushed on the ground. And they started beating me. But I was just reciting the name of Allah. And then it was then that Alaji Moore asked them to stop.
In July 2010, a High Court judge sentenced Mamadou Gueye and 7 other men, including former Army Chief Langtombong Tamba, to death for their part in an alleged coup plot the previous years. After 6 years in prison, one of which served as pre-trial and during trial detention, Gueye was among 200 inmates freed in 2015 as part of a presidential pardon. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. Former Deputy Police Chief narrating before the Truth Commission that he was implicated by the then government for taking part in the alleged 2009 coup. Now, the elective Congress of the Gambia National Olympic Committee, GAMBIA, was scheduled for this year, but officials are trying to push it to 2021 after the Olympic Games in Japan. This decision is not welcomed by some affiliate bodies, and they have called a press conference to outline their concerns. More in this report.
Gambian National Olympic Committee said it has reached a consensus through a resolution from the majority of affiliate sporting bodies to go by an advice from the International Olympic Committee, allowing local Olympic committees to extend their mandates from 2020 to next year in line with the postponement of the Tokyo Games. But Peter Prom, the president of the Gambia Table Tennis Association, told journalists on Friday that the move was not in line with the rules governing the GNOC. Prom also said the manner in which the current GNOC leadership is trying to influence members to postpone this year's Congress was dubious.
Now, I am telling the GNOC right now, or we as concerned National Association, that we do not recognize the outcome of the resolution, since it is in breach of the GNOC Constitution, Article 4, subsection 9.4. Notwithstanding, the outcome of this resolution, when we sent our petition to the GNOC president, we had about 17 to 27 national associations that appended their signatures to our petition. Now, to circulate this, the GNOC office called, most of our petitions were signed by presidents of national associations. They called the national association secretary generals and told them to sign the resolution, not be known to the presidents. So I don't know why anybody would be engaged in such dubious activities when you are regarded as one of the highest sporting bodies in this country.
The GNOC had sent a resolution calling for the postponement of the 2020 election, saying decisions are irreversible when officials from member associations append their signatures. However, Prom said the postponement of elections could only be voted for at the General Assembly and not through a resolution sent to the national associations.
So the GNOC issued a press release once again, selling their idea to the public about the postponement of until after the vote. Now, I don't know, this is giving misleading, I don't know how the IOC will see this misinformation. And we haven't heard from the IOC, even though they claim that they received a letter on the 3rd of November that was accepted by the IOC. That letter too, we haven't seen.
The Gambia National Olympic Committee was founded in 1972 and recognized by the International Olympic Committee in 1976. The committee has made constant headlines over disputed elections and leadership fights in recent years. For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
GNOC pushed its election till after the Olympic Games in Japan as told by OIC. Now that's all we have for you in today's edition of Gambia24. Join us for more news on iAfrica.tv. I was your presenter Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
man kontaan boy mu nekk boy nga ñim bata mu be taki tubabu du boy boy nga nakko do mu be do ku boy nga kina ñin kenni moy boy pour ay bungulo ñi boro na bu hani lento am futa ji boy de